Well, good evening, everybody. I am Gustavo Tolosa hosting the webinar tonight, depending on what part of the world you are. But I am in Dallas, Texas, and it is 9 p.m. And tonight we have a wonderful guest, Chef AJ, who is based in Los Angeles. And Chef AJ teaches how to create meals to transform health. And oh my goodness, she is the creator of so many programs, the Ultimate Weight Loss Program. She was the executive pastry chef at Sauté La Brea restaurant in Los Angeles, the creator of Healthy Taste of LA, and the YouTube cooking show, The Chef and the Dietitian. Anyway, Chef AJ doesn't need a lot of introduction. She's one of the most well-known plant-based chefs in the world, and we are all very, very lucky to have her here tonight. And I want to personally thank her for doing this for all of us here for free and taking her time and being so generous. And I want to welcome you, Chef AJ. How are you?
Hi, Gustavo. Hi, everybody. Gustavo, I love reading the thing on the right that I know a lot of these people. So hi.
Oh, yes.
I know so many of them. They're friends. They're
right.
Weight loss. So thanks, guys, for watching. Hello. I was going to introduce Bailey. Can I have her? I mean, I think you guys know.
Let's see. Where is Bailey? Is she around the house?
We couldn't do this without Gustavo or this guy whose name is Charles. And
there's Charles.
Is Bailey. So Bailey wants to say
the whole family.
That's it. The whole production.
We should say the plant-powered family.
I think having a dog in the kitchen is going to cause me to lose my A health rating, though. Anyway, so thank you so much for being here. So what I'd like to do is show you how I prep for the week, how I do my batch cooking for the week. I was so excited that so many people signed up for what I eat in a day, but people said, but how do you make the stuff? How do you have it ready? So I'm going to show you. Now, it really takes me probably about 2.5 hours to get this whole thing done. And that's because of the baking time or cooking time. So we're not going to keep you here for 2.5 hours. So you may not see how some of this stuff is going to be finished. But I think it's important. I know a lot of you guys are already great cooks, but believe it or not, last Thursday I had a consult with a lovely 47-year-old woman who said to me, Chef AJ, how do you cook a potato in the oven? And she was very serious. So I realized there's some people that don't know the basics. So we're going to do some things that are very basic, but I'll show you how I get it done very quickly. Now, of course, this is 7 o'clock Thursday night. Happy Cinco de Mayo. I would normally not do this 7 o'clock at night. I would probably do it on a Saturday or Sunday morning at 7 o'clock in the morning when I wake up. But this is how I do it, and it makes it really easy. You know, the simpler you eat, the simpler you enjoy the simple foods when you eat simply, and they're really easy to prepare and quite inexpensive. So the first thing I'm going to do is do a couple things over there with the 2 blenders because I only have 2 plugs and I need to plug in both pressure cookers. So one of the things I do every week is I make a sauce, and usually it's yummy sauce, which has lots of variations. You can get that recipe on YouTube, but I really like the nacho cheese sauce that I showed you. I believe it was 2 webinars ago, but I want to show you something different because somebody said, we don't have a Trader Joe's here and you use a 12-ounce bag of cauliflower and I don't have a food scale. So I'm going to show you what you can do. I've got all the ingredients in my blender, which I think you can see right here. So what? If you don't have a Trader Joe's and you don't want to steam up a 12-ounce bag of cauliflower, how about just buying a 16-ounce bag of cauliflower, frozen? Don't have to cook it. You just defrost it, put it in your blender. It's already cooked when it's frozen. And so that's it. That's my nacho cheese sauce. Now, normally I would eat this hot over a potato, over broccoli, but I'm not going to need to have the blender run for 3 minutes so you guys can see how these high-powered blenders work. If you didn't have a high-powered blender, you could just heat it up very gently on low heat on the stove. So this is one sauce, and maybe it won't last a whole week. Maybe it'll last 3 or 4 days, but the idea is I do at least one sauce or salad dressing.
Tell us what you put in it. What was it?
Yeah, this was, well, it had the cauliflower and had all the spices from the, I don't have them memorized because I pre-measured them. I know there was smoked paprika and chipotle powder and lime juice and nutritional yeast. I don't use any, salt or tamari. We made this, I believe, in the third cooking party. And I think we put it over the Hasselback potatoes. So this will keep in the fridge for probably a week, but it probably will be used up before then. Now, believe it or not, one of the things I do, and I think the soft serve that we make either with our Champion juicer or with our Yonanas or with our Vitamix obviously tastes better when we eat it right then. However, sometimes you just don't have time or you don't feel like it. So I actually do make a little bit in advance. Not a lot, but a little so that Charles can have it if I'm away. So what I do is my rule of thumb, and I'm using my Vitamix, is I take my Vitamix and I cover the blade with non-dairy milk. That's about a half a cup. Oh, and by the way, one of the things I do every week, and probably more than once a week, is I make my own plant milk. If you look at the chef and the dietitian, I've showed you how to make almond milk just from using almond butter, but if it's a trigger for you to have nut butter in your house, do hemp seed milk like my friend Sharon McCrae in Baltimore who's watching taught me. I do 1 tablespoon of hemp seeds to 1 cup of water, or I do 4 to 4, just depending on how much. It lasts about 3 days, 3 to 4 days in a glass jar. Super easy to make, don't need a high-powered blender. I'm not going to show you how to make it because I think it's pretty self-explanatory, and plus I don't need any right now. So what I do is I like to make a little sorbet in advance. And what I do, since I know I'm going to make it a lot, I love measuring things in advance and so that I can just grab it from the freezer. So when I make my soft serve for me and Charles, I'm using 2 cups of fruit. In this case, it's 1 cup of cherries and 1 cup of mango and 1 banana, ripe peeled. So this bag, I just pull it out of my freezer. It's already measured. I don't have to measure. I put it in, boom, boom, boom. I take a couple of plastic cups. Now, of course, this would be even more delicious if it was eaten right now, but I like having it. Now, it doesn't stay soft when you freeze it, but it is really fun because it takes a lot longer to eat when you do it like this. It's sort of like having a popsicle. So I actually enjoy it this way, especially with the weather. Oh, it's been about 90 here in LA all week. So I really enjoy it that way. And this makes 2 servings, or at least for me and Charles, this makes 2 servings. And then I like to have this in the freezer for when I want a sweet treat, but I don't feel like making it from scratch. Or when I'm away, I don't think Charles is going to do this himself. Do you do this yourself, Charles? No. He says no, so there we go. Real easy to make.
AJ, the recipe for the previous sauce, is that in your book or how?
No, it isn't. It's not in my book. We did it on webinar number 3 when we made potatoes.
Well, what I'm going to do is later on when I send out the replay, I will send people the link to those webinars.
Sure. Charles, would you mind putting in this freezer for me? Because I can't step around the computer.
Well, I want to eat one.
I know. These are so good. Charles, would you mind come in here? Thank you. So now I need to put my pressure cookers up on the counter. Now, first thing I'm going to do, and I probably should have done this already, is I'm going to preheat my oven to 400 degrees because I'm going to bake my potatoes for the week. Now, here's what they look like. Oh, this tray's heavy, guys. There we go. Can you flip the camera down a little, Charles, so they can see? Okay, see this big tray of potatoes, guys? Yeah. All right, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is only 8 potatoes. So this is not going to last me for a whole week. It's going to maybe last me 5 days because, believe it or not, these are not big enough for me to.
No, they're not.
So I need at least 1.5 of these. Now, I have 3 of my favorite types of sweet potatoes. I have the organic Stokes, which are beautiful dark purple on the inside. I have the Hannah Yams, which are one of my absolute favorites, which are kind of golden on the inside. And then I have the Japanese, which some of you people I know can't get. It might be worth it to buy it on Amazon. These are purple on the outside.
Oh, yeah, those are amazing.
Yeah, they taste like vanilla ice cream. So I've already washed these in the interest of time. If they're dirty and you want to scrub them, I use this little little potato guy. I got one of these from Dr. McDougall last year for his birthday. And so then what I do is I have it covered with what's called a Silpat or a non-stick silicone baking mat. And then I take a knife and I just kind of poke. Just be careful, don't poke yourself. I probably should be doing this in the air. Now, some people say they don't like to poke their sweet potatoes, at least not the orange ones, because they ooze, but I find that these three colors don't ooze. Now, we get a lot of questions about the Hawaiian sweet potatoes. Now, those are going to be cooked differently. See, these are all about the same size and they're all about the same texture, so these are going to cook beautifully together. I'm going to cook them in a preheated 400-degree oven, and you could roast as high as 425, even 450. Let's do a little bit shorter time for about 90 minutes, which is why you're not going to see the finished product. But those Hawaiian ones, should you order them from a website like Hawaii Veggie Farm, or if you're lucky enough like we are to find them in Asian markets here, you need to cook those at a much lower temperature, like about 200, 250, 300 for about 2 to 3 hours. I don't know why, but that's it. So I'm just going to stick these in. But
I find all those sweet potatoes at Whole Foods, actually.
That's fantastic. I've always recommended to my constituents, the computer as I keep moving, that everybody gets one of these. They're about $10 because I don't believe your oven's as accurate as you think. And so I go by what this says, not by what the dial says. Now, one of the things that I make every week, and I had to do this in advance, but you've already seen me make it on, I believe it was cooking party number 1, is my favorite, the world's best beanless bean burgers. Now, I always cook things together if they make sense. So, for example, this also cooks at 400 degrees, as does my oven roasted ratatouille and the balsamic Dijon glazed Brussels sprouts. So I cook things together at the same temperature. I don't try to cook things together that don't go together, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. But I hate to waste any kind of resources, like we have an electric stove, like electricity. So I want to make sure that my oven is completely full. Now, for those of you that have tried either the beanless bean burgers or the Chipotle bean burgers and said you had trouble flipping them or they've fallen apart, here's the remedy. Make them the day before. That's what I did, and chill them. And I promise you, you won't have that problem. The other thing I recommend, and when I rewrite the recipe, I will indicate this, is even though they take about an hour to cook, I used to say cook them on one side for 30 minutes and then flip. Well, what I've discovered is for whatever reason, they don't easily flip in 30 minutes, cook them 40, 45, and wait until they flip easily, and then cook them for the additional 15 or 20 minutes. So these are going into this.
So why did you cook the potatoes in the Instant Pot?
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know if you saw that, but these are huge potatoes. And so I couldn't have, well, there's 2 reasons. A great question. I couldn't have fit them all in, number 1, even with 2 Instant Pots, but my Instant Pots are both going to be busy. You'll see in a second why. I just prefer the taste of potatoes roasted I'll eat potatoes anyway. I eat them steamed. I eat them in the microwave when I travel, but there's something about roasting potatoes, especially sweet potatoes. It brings out the natural sweetness. And I find that if you have the time, they're just so much more delicious. I find the Instant Pot gets them a little bit wet. I love the Instant Pot, and they're great for making mashed potatoes. You want them wet, but it just, to me, tastes better roasted. And then I keep them in my fridge. I don't know if I can open my fridge right now to show you. Usually I keep it in a Tupperware like this. You can see that it's empty. But here's the thing, guys. Do not wait until you're out of something to make it. So in other words, I don't cook my potatoes when I have no potatoes. I wait till I'm down to 1 potato at the most, and then I cook them, because I know I'm going to eat them every day for lunch and for snacks, even dessert. So this will be cooking. You won't be able to see the finished product. But the other thing I do is, a lot of you are very lucky that you live in houses as opposed to apartments, which means that you probably have a double stove, especially if you're in a newer house. The reason it takes me longer to prep is because I have only 1 oven, so I've got to cook the things at 400. But as soon as these are done, then I'm going to cook the things that cook at a different temperature, like 350. And again, I've already prepped these. So one of my favorite and best recipes are the blueberry mill oat muffins that we made, I believe, in the cooking party number 1. But now I'm doing them with cherries, and I'm using a whole pound instead of 12 ounces. These are off the charts. But again, you can prep stuff in advance. You can refrigerate this overnight if you have time. It doesn't have to be when you're busy. So that's what I did, because I knew I was going to be doing a lot of cooking today. Because here's the thing, I don't like to keep turning my oven on and off. It's very hot. Like I said, it's 90 degrees there. So I want to get it all done. And usually I do this at 7 o'clock in the morning. And then I've got my cherry mango breakfast cobbler that we made at the last cooking party. So again, I try to think of things that cook together cook at the same temperature. So now, here's one of the things I do every single week is I make a grain and I make my broth. So one of my favorite grains, which is technically not a grain, is wild rice. And I believe it's a grass. So you can get wild rice. You can buy it in bulk, but I just buy it in a 16-ounce bag, 1-pound bag. And in my Instant Pot, which I love because it has the stainless steel insert, you can get $50 off with the code AJ. I've got 4 cups of water. And of course, if you have broth, you can use that as well. So Shada taught me how to do this. She's going to be going to the Health, Healing, Happiness Conference in Vegas, and she brings the Instant Pot and cooks for me. She always makes wild rice, which is my favorite in a salad. So 1 pound to 4 cups, and you put it in like that. Put on the pressure cooker, and all you do is press one button, and that button is right under the word rice. It's the multi-grain button. You push it, set it, forget it, and that's it. So what I love about the Instant Pot is it replaces your rice cooker. Most rice cookers that I've seen have a nonstick insert, so the Instant Pot makes rice or quinoa beautifully. So I switch up the grain that I'm going to make. Last week I made black rice. The week before, Bhutanese red rice. My favorite rice is from Gustavo's hometown of Dallas, the Basmati rice. Now, but here's the other thing. If you don't have time, you can buy organic rice already made. This stuff is delicious. I got this at Costco, but I've seen it at regular grocery stores, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, pre-cooked organic brown rice, sometimes even red rice. So don't sweat it. Just make sure you always have this in your freezer. Okay, so the rice will take 40 minutes to cook, so now broth. So one of the things I love to do is make my own broth. And every time I use vegetables, so whether it's the core of the bell pepper, the end of the zucchini, the peel of the onion, I put it in a 1-gallon Ziploc bag that I keep in my freezer. And when it's full, I make broth. And what's great about this is it's free. And I don't have to worry about buying a carton every time. It has to be recycled. I think about the environment. I don't have to waste that carton. This is free, by the way, because most people would throw these scraps away or compost them. And what's great about it is that it tastes even better. You can flavor it however you want, and you're saving money. So it's fantastic. Even those box broths can cost as much as $4 in certain stores. It tastes a little bit different every time. In my pressure cooker, I have 10 cups of water, and then I'm going to dump the whole bag in.
10 cups of water.
Yeah, 10 cups of water.
And so is it always 4 cups of water to 1 pound of rice?
Okay, that's a very good question, and the answer is no. So I recommend, if you want to know how to cook things in a pressure cooker, you can Google pressure cooking for dummies, and there'll be a sheet. But all the pressure cooking cookbooks, like one of my favorites, which is Lauren Assas's cookbook, which is called Great Vegetarian Cooking Under Pressure, which I believe is the only vegan cookbook that won a James Beard Award. She has a chart. Jill Nussenow has a pressure cooking book. She has a chart. J.L. Fields, who wrote Vegan Pressure Cooking, where I got this recipe, has a chart. So any of the vegan pressure cooking books will have a chart, but you can also get them free online. So no, it is not the same. Every grain is different with the amount of water. So yes, you will need to, I don't want to memorize it. What I usually do is I just call Sharon McCrae, so I don't know if she's comfortable with me giving her phone number, but literally, or I tag her on Facebook and I ask her, and she's delightful that way. She's a wonderful coach in Maryland, especially if you're trying to transition kids to a healthy diet. So you can put any spices in you want. But again, if you've seen any of my videos, I always measure all my spices in advance. And so what's going in here is 2 bay leaves and half a teaspoon each of basil, rosemary, thyme, and oregano. Sometimes I put garlic in. I have some good friends that are allergic to garlic, so I tend not to, but you certainly can. And you put the pressure cooker on, and then I just do the manual button, and I do 10 minutes at high pressure. And
did you mention a cookbook a few seconds ago, or?
2 cookbooks. There's Great Vegetarian Cooking Under Pressure by Lorna Sass. Excellent recipes, and if they do have oil and salt, I just omit it. Jill Nussenow has Vegan Under Pressure, and J.L. Fields has Vegan Pressure Cooking. So there's at least 3 vegan pressure cooking cookbooks right now.
Okay, all right.
So that's fantastic. So here's the thing. What I'm really doing right now is batch cooking, but it's really passive batch cooking, because now I don't really have anything to do. I mean, I have things to do, but I want to show you more things. But if this was being done without you guys watching, I don't need to be in this kitchen. I could be doing laundry. I could be walking Bailey, emptying my dishwasher. So it's not that hard. You just have to prep and buy the stuff. So I really call this passive batch cooking, because it doesn't matter when the rice and the broth are ready, because pressure cookers can wait for me. But of course, I do have to come back and flip the burgers in 45 minutes, but I leave my oven on and take Bailey for a walk all the time. So one of the things that I like to do, and we maybe will be able to show it, it just depends, we don't want to keep you more than an hour, especially on the East Coast, is when the broth is ready, I let it cool. And what I do is, this is just a picture from the 99-cent store, and this is a paint straining bag that costs me $1 at Orchard Supply Hardware, a hardware store. Now, these paint straining bags are fantastic. You could certainly get what's called a nut milk bag and pay probably $7 to $10. It won't be as big. But what's great about these is they have lots of uses. You want to make sure you get a clean new one that hasn't been used for paint. That wouldn't be so great. But what I love to do is you can, if you're doing almond milk from scratch, from nuts, this is a great way to strain it. If you ever made the lasagna on page 100 of my book, probably one of my best and most popular recipes, when you have to defrost a bag of spinach or kale, it's really kind of hard to squeeze the water out. This makes it really easy to do. But what I use it for is to strain my broth. And so when it is done, I let it cool a little bit and I put it in here, and then I have 10 cups of broth. Now, here's the thing. Every now and then, people say, well, can you put this in the broth? Can you put that? Different chefs have different opinions. I know Chef Bravo, in his book, Bravo, talks about certain things you shouldn't put in broth. I think it's just what you like. I don't think there's a right or wrong. When I interviewed J.L. Fields on my teleclass, she says she puts everything in. She puts in mint. She puts in the core of an apple or a pear. I don't put in the stem of the kale. I find that for me that makes it too bitter. But for me, just simple things like the carrot, the celery, the onion, zucchini, Brussels sprout ends, I really have not had a problem. Now, here's the thing. Worst comes to worst, let's say it doesn't taste good. What did it cost you? Really nothing, right? So, and I have more scraps than I know what to do with. So it's just a great thing, and the broth, it's actually, tastes absolutely delicious. So one of the things I always do is to make my big salad for the week. And if you saw the last webinar, What I Eat in a Day, and I told you this, it was either 7, 8, or 9 secrets to superior salad satisfaction. And I showed you how to make the chopped salad, but I need to have like the guts of it already made. Now, since that webinar, I got the coolest thing, you guys, especially if you travel. And again, I'm not an affiliate for anything. Even when I tell you about it's $50 on Instant Pot, I don't take my commission check, because I want you to know that I only promote things I love. I don't get anything for Tupperware, but if you want this, just go to, what's the name of Kurt's website? He's great. I'll have to go get his card. But anyway, this bowl is so awesome, because this.
I tell you what, when you find it, let me know, and I will put an annotation in this video for the replay.
I just remembered it. It's www Drag Queen Party, because this guy Kurt is also an actor, and he does his parties as Aunt Cassie in drag. He's fabulous. Drag Queen Party. But this was about $20, but let me tell you why I love it. A lot of people say, oh, how do you use Tupperware? Well, I'm going to tell you something. I have never found a glass container that's big enough to store my things, or that keeps things as fresh as Tupperware. But what I love about this is it holds 8 cups, which is about the size of the chopped salads I eat. Has the knife and fork on top. It comes with a little container for your dressing, which I can get from TSA. I believe you can get 3 ounces. I think this is 4 ounces, but still, it's pretty cool. Anyway, I love this little salad thing, and it was $20. So let me make my salad now. Oh, now, you guys, this is so awesome. So this has always been my favorite Tupperware bowl, because it's purple and it holds 42 cups. It's called That's a Bowl. But now they have a 52-cup bowl. I'm so excited. It is the biggest bowl I've ever seen. But I'm going to just use my regular. These are new. They haven't been washed. So I'm just going to use my regular bowl. There we go, the red one. And so this is how I make my salad. Because I know I'm probably going to chop it anyway, but I still know that sometimes there might be somebody that comes over that really doesn't want it chopped, or sometimes there's other reasons to not have it chopped. I am lazy, so I don't mind buying things already washed, and I believe they are washed. This is organic. I live next door to Trader Joe's, but you can get it wherever you want.
So you make this for the whole week, right?
Yeah, the whole week. I mean, it lasts. I'm going to be honest, most things last about 6 days here. It doesn't always quite stretch to day number 7, but that's okay because on most Thursday nights, I have a class at UCLA, and I'm just going to pick up flame broiler that night anyway, so 6 days is good enough for me. So where is my knife? So I do cut it. So, there we go. And this is just how I like it. So I just cut it, you know, fairly small. It's going to be chopped anyway, but I cut it kind of small because I like things that way. It fits better in my mouth. And it really, you can see, I'm talking, so it takes longer, but it really does not take a very long time to make a huge bowl of salad for the week. And anytime I need a salad, the food is already ready.
And the lettuce doesn't wither? I mean, it actually lasts several days?
It really does last a whole week. If you guys watch the extraordinary video that Gustavo and I did with Dr. Lyle, he was saying one of the problems is that it's gotten to the point where it's harder to make the healthy choice the way the world is. Well, it's not harder to make the healthy choice if you've prepared in advance. You know, the old saying, fail to plan, plan to fail, like a Boy Scout, always prepared. So I always, at the very minimum, have salad in my house. It's always there. So there's always something to eat. There's always a potato. There's always a grain. There's always a bean. I tend to not make beans as much in my pressure cooker, even though they do taste better that way, because I find that canned beans, salt-free greens, taste okay. I don't see the biggest difference in that, but I love cooking grains from scratch because then the whole house tastes amazing.
So Linda here has a question that I've been wondering too from the last webinar when you used your ulu knife.
Yeah.
And doesn't that damage the Tupperware bowl?
Well, this is my ulu knife, and I'm going to show you the Tupperware bowl that I actually ulu in. So this is what it looks like on the inside. I've been using the ulu on this since 2008. So wow. Tupperware has a lifetime guarantee. So, but no, it actually doesn't. And it doesn't. The weird thing is, Gustavo, is it didn't even seem to dull my blade. So now, what am I putting in? So again, I am lazy. I don't mind paying a few extra pennies to get things cut up. But I'm putting in my salad what I like, which happens to be shredded carrots and shredded purple cabbage, which I prefer to green cabbage. But Trader Joe's has organic green cabbage already cut up. So there. Now, if you remember, I do like beets and onion in my salad, but my husband doesn't. So those are shredded in a separate container for me to add. So look, this is so pretty. I love these colors. Orange and green and purple. And then the other thing I love are these organic Persian cucumbers. And what I do is I have this little thing. I love tools. This I got, I believe, at Sur La Table. It's a mandolin. Now, all it takes is for you to cut your thumb off one time for you to realize it's really important to get a mandolin glove. Don't think you can. I don't know how they do it at True North. I think it's so dangerous. But always use a mandolin glove. But I like to cut my little Persian cucumbers. I like these better because they don't have the seeds, or if they do, it's not as prevalent. Boom, boom, boom. When I have purslane, I also put purslane in here. I actually use that all up. My friend grows it in her garden, and she gives it to me, so that's really good. That's a really good source of those omega-3 fatty acids. These mandolin gloves are about $8. I got mine at Bed Bath & Beyond. Now remember, I'm also going to be putting fruit and other things in this salad, but not until I eat it. I don't want to put my fruit in there now. There we go. One more.
Yes, and this salad, you showed it in the last webinar, which I'm going to put a link for everybody later on.
Yes, and this will last a week. It really will. But I don't chop the whole thing in advance, you know, because every now and then I do eat it non-chop. It's just, you know, it seems like it takes so much longer to eat it when you don't chop it. So there we go. So that's beautiful. And this is going to be in my fridge, and it's going to last at least 6 days. And that's that. It was easy. And again, if you don't like to buy things already cut up, it's okay. You don't have to. But I like to put my lid on. And that's good. These Tupperware lids are great and going right in the fridge. Okay, so I'm actually going to cook something now, and A lot of people are new to this way of eating. They don't understand how you cook or saute without oil. So I'm going to show that to you right now, courtesy of my good friend, Matt Frazier, the No Meat Athlete. Many of us in Ultimate Weight Loss signed up for his new subscription website called Health Made Simple. He is doing meal plans, and no, they are not completely compliant with Ultimate Weight Loss, but so many of his recipes were compatible that I decided to join and tell people about it, and that the recipes that were close to being compatible, every week on the Ultimate Weight Loss group page, I post how to make them compatible. But so many of them are, and I'm going to show you one of my favorite recipes from Health Made Simple, the No Meat Athlete's website, and it's versatile, and it's delicious, and it'll teach you how easy it is to saute without oil. Okay, so, you know, don't hate me because I use a nonstick pan. I have had this pan for, I don't know, at least 25 years. And it's my understanding that nonstick pans are a problem if they chip. This is hard anodized steel. It's a Pampered Chef pan. I used to be actually a representative. It's my favorite pan. It's called the wok pan. Don't use nonstick if you don't want. You can use stainless steel. You can use waterless cookware. This is the pan I use. You're not eating it anyway, so it doesn't matter. So how do you saute without oil? So you get your pan of choice. And I have electric, not as good as gas, but I live in an apartment. We don't have a choice. And I'm putting it on high heat. So onions are my least favorite thing to cut up. It makes me cry. I get the little 10-ounce bag at Trader Joe's, but what's even better is if you have a Smart and Final near you. This cost, I believe, $4. For $4, I could get 10 times as much at one of those stores like Smart and Final, and then I could freeze that. I just didn't have time to go there today. So what I'm going to do is I'm not putting anything in the pan. I'm not putting any water or any broth. I'm doing what's called dry saute, and I'm dumping this whole thing in. And you're going to see that you don't really need water. At some point, I might want to add a little bit, but you're going to see these are going to get so brown so quickly. So I'm just going to spread them out in the pan, and let's see if I can.
Do you have a favorite salad dressing for your salads?
Yes, I do, and I'm going to, let me see if I can. I'm trying to move. Charles, let's move this so that they can see the pan. Hold on one second. I'm going to answer that. Is there a way you can move this so they can see the cooking part of this?
Let's see. We can just kind of tilt it down here.
All right.
Sure.
Well, I'll ask you. Okay, but you don't have to hold it there. I'll call you when it gets brown. So my favorite salad dressings are reduced balsamic vinegars, and I'm actually going to use this in Matt's recipe. It's just an addition that I made up. What I'm making now, by the way, from the No Meat Athlete is the kale, mushroom, onion, garlic saute. So I'm going to put a little of this vinegar on it. It's called smoke infused. It tastes like barbecue sauce. But Bima and Paz has a whole line of these reduced vinegars, and she has a new flavor if you like spice called habanero. So I like to use 2 tablespoons of vinegar with 2 tablespoons of lime juice, because believe it or not, it's almost too sweet for me now, and that is my favorite salad dressing. Those of you that live in Dallas or that will travel to Dallas when Gustavo and I get together for the Engine 2 conference on October 1st, the representative and the chef of this company, Terry, will be there so you can taste every flavor before you purchase. But if you know what you want to get, you use my name AJ, you get 10% off. My favorite flavors are cucumber, melon, smoke infused, garlic cilantro, white garlic. I love there's no flavor I don't like, but that is my very favorite salad dressing. And because it's so rich, I really only need about 2 tablespoons. So I'm just letting these onions sit. If you want to show, Charles, I haven't done anything at all. I'm just letting them sizzle, and that's all that's happening right now. I'm just going to open my 2 bags of mushrooms. I'm using sliced crimini mushrooms. And I've got a bag of organic kale from Trader Joe's, which I'm opening. Yes, indeed. So, garlic. I'm not even touching it. See, this pan has a big surface area, so all the onions are spread out, and just in a matter of a couple minutes, it's going to be caramelized and brown. I'm going to add some garlic. You know, I don't pay attention to garlic in recipes if I'm using it. If a little is good, more is generally better. And I don't have Matt's recipe in front of me, so I'm just going to say 4 cloves, just like that. I normally would probably add the garlic a little bit later. Now, if this was starting to burn, what I would do is 1 tablespoon at a time, I would add either broth or water. but you're going to see it's not going to burn, not yet anyway. And then when I add the mushrooms have such a high water content that the last thing I want to do is add water to it. So, cooking without oil is the easiest thing. And cooking without salt is the hardest thing. Mm-hmm. But oil is the easiest thing, and sugar is also easy. So I don't know if you could start to see that this is starting to brown, but it's not done enough for me. So I'm just leaving it there. I'm not even stirring it around.
And it doesn't get stuck, right?
No, it doesn't. Well, no, it doesn't get stuck because this is a nonstick pan. Now,
right.
If you put this on your stainless steel pan, yeah, I think it probably would get stuck. So you'd have to really be more mindful and add that few tablespoons of water at a time. So, oil is the easiest thing to replace in a recipe, in my opinion. But except for frying, which we shouldn't do anyway, you don't really need it. It's 120 calories a tablespoon. It's 14 grams of fat. It destroys your artery. It destroys your figure. So don't use it. You really can't tell the difference. Now it's starting to brown. So now
how high is the heat right
I've got it on high heat. Okay. I've got it on the highest heat possible. It's starting to brown. So now this is not passive batch cooking. If you're sautéing something without oil, you don't want to go, take the dog out at this point. This you want to watch. But you can see how quickly it's really, I don't know if you can see, it's almost brown now. I'm going to let it go a little bit longer. But let's say, oh no, it's starting to stick. Oh no. Well, if it's starting to stick, all you do is just a little bit of water, just like that. So I think this is actually called steam frying. And these are going to get nice and brown and just as caramelized and sweet and delicious as if we cooked them in oil. And look at this. This is almost ready. This is crazy how quick this is. Let me show you. I don't know if you can see the browning, but
oh yeah,
it's nice and brown. This is a great way, if you're doing hash browns, it's great to have that.
When people realize how easy it is to cook without oil, it's just amazing.
So now that these are nice and brown, I'm going to add my mushrooms. I got them already sliced. Let me tell you a little secret. If you don't want to buy mushrooms already sliced, the easiest way to slice a mushroom or to slice a strawberry is just to get an egg slicer. I don't eat eggs, but I have an egg slicer because this makes perfect slices for strawberries, for bananas, for mushrooms. So there we go. So this will take a little bit longer for these to cook down. And again, I have some water here. If it starts to get too dry, you add it. I know Sharon McRae uses waterless cookware. I was gifted some by Sandy Club, but I quite honestly do not understand how to use it, but I hear it's excellent cookware. I know it's a little bit more costly, so, I don't want people to think they have to have that because the most important thing is fruits and vegetables. So the other thing is if I wasn't, the burgers, I really encourage you to make the burgers. If you want the original recipe for the Chipotle bean burger, you can get it on my TV show, Healthy Living with Chef AJ. It's either episode 5 or 6. Those freeze spectacularly. A serving for me and Charles is about 2 burgers each. And we eat them. We buy the lettuce. I forget what it's called, but it's got the bird attached. And then we have like the lettuce buns, and Charles likes pickles on his. I like just mustard, red onion, and tomato on mine. You can put the cheese sauce on it. It's very good on those burgers. And so the 12 burgers would probably last those every week. So that's probably 3 weeks. So I don't do those every single week. So a lot of times when I do roast vegetables, whether they're for breakfast or for another time, I don't just do 1 serving. So I'll do 8 pounds at a time, whatever will fit on 2 trays in my oven. Those of you that have double ovens, you are so lucky because you get to just do a lot more cooking, and it's a lot easier. What I call them blueberry millet muffins, the cherry muffins. Now, what I do is I always make sure that I eat some and I freeze some. So, the other thing, I can't open my freezer right now is when I make a grain, whether it's quinoa or rice or wild rice, I always take some of it after it cools and freeze it. And I freeze it in 2-cup servings in a little Ziploc bag because that's about how much I eat at a time. And I don't make it, and again, when I'm down to my last bag, I make it again. So the other thing is stuff in the freezer can be your ice chip when you travel. Does that make sense? So even though you can travel with an ice chip, and I do, like if you freeze an entree, that can be your ice chip. So you can see I really haven't added much more water. This is not quite done yet. I like the mushrooms a little bit more brown. So I wish you could smell this. Garlic, onion, mushroom, absolutely delicious. One of the things I do with this recipe sometimes is I'll add a can of tomatoes, the fire roasted, salt-free can of tomatoes from Muir Glen. This is very good in this. And so this sauté is delicious on its own, but of course, if something's delicious on its own, it's even better over a potato or over rice, because really the key, if you guys are still struggling with your weight, the key to ultimate weight loss, maximum weight loss in general, is starch. You're not eating enough starch. If you are hungry, it's because you either didn't eat enough starch or you didn't eat it early in the day. If you just saw how much I ate, you would know that starch will not make you fat. It's actually what is going to make you thin, but you have to eat it. And then, of course, vegetables, too. That helps fill the space in the tank. But together, there's nothing more delicious than starch and vegetables. I like it even more than fruit. And by the way, somebody recently asked me if I eat dessert. And I thought that was a great question because I used to be a pastry chef and a sugar addict. So I only eat dessert pretty much now if it's starch. So in other words, when I eat this breakfast fruit cobbler, yeah, it's got fruit, but half of it's going to be starch because of the oat topping. The blueberry millet or cherry millet muffins, well, there's oats, there's millets, and there's Japanese sweet potatoes. So it's actually more starch than fruit. So sure, yeah, I eat fruit. I mean, I had some cherries today, but even for dessert, I always think of starch. Go for starch. The only thing that will satisfy your hunger drive is starch. You can see this is starting to, can you see it starting to cook down? But I want it a little bit more. This smells good.
Onions?
Onion, you know what, I couldn't find the recipe. So, I mean, I know what the recipe is. It's these 4 ingredients: kale, mushrooms, onion, and garlic. So the way Matt wrote it, I don't have the exact measurements, but you know, it doesn't matter because except for a baking recipe, make recipes your own. And those were the ingredients, and they're all great ingredients, by the way. So they're absolutely, if you saw the webinar where we did the portobello mushroom stroganoff, this was actually how we started. It was with these 3 ingredients: onion, garlic, and mushroom. And I actually often serve that over kale. So great minds think alike. And you can see I didn't need any water because mushrooms have such a high water content that they're giving up their, I like things a little bit more well done. Some people would think this is fine now, but I'm going to wait just a little bit longer. Oh, I don't know if you can see this, but the wild rice, it's already starting to, it's saying 32 minutes now. So it's 40 minutes, so that's that. The broth is not ready yet, but I didn't think you guys wanted a 2.5-hour webinar. So there we go. Oh, it smells so good. All right, so I'm going to put the kale in now. Well, actually, I don't want to. I really want the water to cook down. You know, sometimes you do have to be patient. But if there's any questions, let's see. Do the muffins have flour in them or oats? So I use just whole oats. I generally don't grind my grains anymore. The millet I did grind, but people that have been making the recipe say they're leaving the millet whole for a nice crunch. So you could also use 4 cups of oats instead of 3 cups of oats and 1 cup of millets. I find that oats by themselves in gluten-free baking make things gummy. That's why I balance it with the millet. But you don't have to grind if you don't want. I generally don't grind anything anymore. Sharon, don't forget the discount code for Chef. Oh, Terry's watching. Oh, hi, Terry. Anyway, Chef Terry makes the best vinegars in the whole world. She's also going to be in LA September 18th for the Engine 2 conference. And she might even be moving to LA, which would be great because I don't have to pay for shipping anymore. But her new flavor, habanero, if you like things with a kick, it's excellent. Anyway, her vinegars are just amazing. And like I said, I'm going to use this one tonight. I'm going to use it as the finish. I would not cook with an expensive vinegar like this. I mean, just like I wouldn't cook with oil or salt. It's going to dissipate, but this is going to make a delicious finish to the dish. So we're almost done here. Yep. So I just like telling you about stuff I love. This is, I know salt's the hardest thing to give up. I love this salt-free seasoning. It's my favorite, and again, 10% with my name, AJ. It's called Benson's Table Tasty. Why do I love it? Because I'm allergic to black pepper, and it's pretty much the only salt-free seasoning I found that doesn't have black pepper, but it also tastes like salt. And I just buy it online, 2-pound bags, and it lasts a long time. So we're getting to the point now where I'm hoping that you can see that. There we go. Looking good. So I'm going to add the kale now. 1 bag. And what I'm going to do is I am going to take the top for my steamer thing. I'm just going to put it over there so it cooks a little faster. It will cook down. And then that's that. So, is there anything else I want that you guys want to see me make? Or I can show you. Let's see. I'm looking around my kitchen. So, while we're waiting for that to finish, I'll start reading to the right.
Yes, go ahead and ask questions, everybody.
Does Chef AJ reduce the vinegar for her salad dressing? I don't, because I believe these vinegars are already reduced. I do add a little bit of lime juice because, believe it or not, everything is now too sweet for me. So I add about 2 tablespoons to 2 tablespoons lime juice to vinegar, and it's just my favorite salad dressing in the whole world. What is the name of the seasoning? It's called Benson's, B-E-N-S-O-N-S, Benson's Table Tasty, and the website is Benson's Gourmet Seasonings with an S.com. What kind of vinegar? Bema and Paz, B-E-M-A-A-N-D-P-A-S.com. Everything is 10% off with AJ except for Instant Pot. It's $50 off, and they're coming out with an 8-quart model, so I would get that one. Purslane. What is purslane? So purslane, believe it or not, is a weed that can grow in the cracks of a sidewalk. We have a lot of Latina markets in Los Angeles called Vallarta and Super King, and there it is called Verdolagos, and it's a weed, but I think it tastes really good. They use it at Rancho La Puerta, this very exclusive spa that I teach at. But what I like about it is because I don't eat nuts and seeds, it's very, very high in omega-3 fatty acids, and it tastes good to me. Do I make the muffins every week? So I would not make the muffins every week for myself because I don't eat them as often as that, like every day. The muffins for me are more of a travel thing. When I travel, sometimes I just can't get enough starch and I can't get enough calories, and they freeze great. But because I have clients, like coaching clients that I also cook for, they don't want to make the muffins. So yeah, I do make them every week, but I don't eat them every single day. But yeah, I do.
Mention your book.
Uh-huh. Thank you. Okay, so the bean burger recipe that I put in, that one was available on Cooking Party. I get the Cooking Parties mixed up, but I believe it was Cooking Party #1. But the Chipotle bean burger is available online at foodie.com. Jessica, do I eat 3 meals a day? So I eat according to hunger. And I would say I don't eat more than 3 meals a day, but sometimes I eat less than 3 meals a day. So is there a substitute for chocolate? Well, I'm not really. I mean, carob can be used in recipes. Roasted carob powder, probably better than the raw, but it really doesn't taste like chocolate in my opinion. But for people that are allergic to chocolate, like I can't eat chocolate because it gives me migraines, and my husband can't eat it because he has AFib and he can't have any caffeine, so we're a chocolate-free home. And actually, once I stopped eating chocolate 5 or 6 years ago, never got another migraine again. So I really don't know of a substitute for chocolate. But the problem with chocolate is it's a high-fat food. It's 2,500 calories a pound, and generally we need a lot of sugar or dairy to make it palatable, and so that can be a problem for some people.
Someone said that the best substitute for chocolate is sex. What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you, they both increase the amount of dopamine in the brain, so you can see that the kale is starting to get nice and tender. I like my greens, pretty verdant. Is that a word? So I am going to turn this this part off. So the flavors of, first of all of Bema and Paz vinegars I love. My personal favorites are the smoke infused, which tastes like barbecue sauce. I love the garlic cilantro, the white garlic. I mean, I tend to like the savory ones more than the sweet ones. But if you like the sweet ones, the raspberry, they have chocolate. Those I used on my television show, Banana Ice Cream. Her new habanero one was delicious. I love cucumber melon. I mean, I really, her seasonal pumpkin pie spice on butternut squash. So there wasn't a flavor that I didn't like. So I don't think you'd be disappointed. Somebody just gifted me a trio set, and it had coconut in there. It was, oh gosh, this looks delicious, guys. Let me show you. So, sorry, I'm trying to, I got up. Okay, is that better? There.
Oh, yeah. Yes, there you go.
Smells good. And this would probably, believe it or not, serve 2. I mean, usually everything I make serves 1 because I eat so much, but that would serve 2.
What do you drink? It says, someone says.
Vodka. No, the only beverage I really drink is water. And, oh, no, I drink pot liquor. Whenever I steam vegetables or cook the greens in the pressure cooker, so I drink pot liquor and water. Once in a while, if it's cold, I might have some herbal tea, but pretty much water. And, I eat so many fruits and vegetables, I'm very hydrated from that, so I don't need a lot of water. Oh, Vernon isn't appropriate. Is the jalapeno vinegar hot? No. The habanero is somewhat spicy, but the jalapeno lime is not hot, in my opinion, not at all. But yeah, come to the Engine 2 conferences so you can actually taste the flavors, and that way, the hard part is deciding which ones to get. That's the hardest part with the vinegar. Will you get an email? Jalapeno hot, right? Jalapeno lime isn't hot, so I can't. Once the feed goes, I can't see it. I know there were maybe more questions, but somebody wanted a recap of what I made. Where is the smell-o-vision? Do you put the kale mix over anything? So yes and no. So yeah, you can eat it this way, but there's no starch, no satiety. So I put everything either over grain or potato. So for me, Yukon Gold is my favorite of the non-sweet potatoes. I would put that over that, or this would be delicious over rice. But how do you finish it? Well, this is how you finish it. A little bit of this smoke infused. Oh, you guys could smell this. Look at that. That was probably 2 tablespoons. This is high octane stuff. You don't need a lot. It's so flavorful. Oh, look at that. Now, oh my God, it smells delicious. So this is amazing. This would be great over potatoes or rice. We're going to eat this after you guys go to bed. Okay. How much are conferences? If you're referring to the Engine 2 conference, I don't know. Go to their website. I believe it's engine2.com. I'm sorry, I don't have that memorized. Does Bima and Paz offer a sampler of vinegars? I think Chef Terry is on this webinar, and maybe she can answer that. I don't know if they offer samplers, but they do have little baby bottles. Let me show you. Somebody just gave me, we just finished the Ultimate Weight Loss Live program in person, and one of my students gave me this lovely little one.
Oh.
Cute bottles, and it's jalapeno lime, garlic, cilantro, and coconut. So you can get, I believe these are 4-ounce bottles, and these are 8-ounce bottles, but I buy the 16-ounce bottles when I can. Oh yeah, Terry wrote the website. Am I writing a new cookbook? Tracy, no, I'm not. I'm writing a weight loss book called The Secrets to Ultimate Weight Loss. There will be recipes in it, but that won't be the focus. Kate, how many calories do I eat? The truth is I don't count calories, carbs, points, weigh or measure my food or myself. But because somebody asked that question over a 3-day period, I put my food in, and the average was 1,800 calories. I'm 5'6" and 115 pounds. And I used to weigh 165 when, well, I was going to say not when you knew me, but some of you knew me. How about Dr. McDougall's weekend conference? Well, Gustavo's going to be at his conference on May 15th. Terry's website is, yeah, she just put her website in. Terry does have some, I love
you work out?
I do now. So yeah, the question, yes, I work out for my mental health, not for my physical health. I'm a person that's wired pretty anxious and used to have panic disorder. So Dr. Lyle, who I love dearly, got me off my medication when I went to True North 5 years ago. And so the antidote for anxiety and depression is exercise. I did not exercise to lose these 50 pounds because at the time I was recovering from a very bad fractured knee. But after I lost the weight, I started exercising 3 days a week. I do spin classes, and the rest of the time I'm walking Bailey 45 minutes twice a day. Up until I got Bailey, though, my other dog couldn't go for a walk, so it was just the spinning. And I do a very gentle form of yoga called Yin Restorative, which I'm pretty sure doesn't burn calories because you just lay there. But again, most of what I do is for my mind and my mental health. My understanding is that exercise is not necessary for weight loss. It's necessary for health, but not for weight loss. But it's weight loss. I can't speak tonight. But it's more important to weight management. The thing that's so great about exercise is it increases self-esteem, and I think it makes it easier for you to stick to a healthy eating style. But at the end of the day, diet does trump exercise. You can't outrun a bad diet. So, but yes, I do. And I don't know if I really like it. I like the effect of it. You know, I still have to drag my butt to the gym, and it's like I get it's like 1 minute late for class, and it's like, but then after I'm done, I'm also, what I like about it is because I know it's raising my metabolic rate. It allows me to eat more, so that's pretty cool. Oh, True North, May 16th. Yay, Leah. That's going to be great. We love True North. I'll be there maybe in August, but for sure in December. If you guys are free, I'll be there December 20th through January 2nd with Charles and Bailey and a bunch of my friends. Joanne, maybe Terry would give you just vinegar in the set if it includes olive oil. So ask her that. So guys, for the discount for everything, it's either AJ or Chef AJ. Benson's is bensonsgourmetseasonings.com. And what else can I tell you? I just wish you guys could be here because we have to eat all this all by ourselves. Now, the rice, you see, again, I apologize. There was no way I could have everything ready in an hour. But remember, this was passive batch cooking. You only have to do this once a week. I'm assuming many of you people work Monday through Friday, regular 9 to 5 hours. So what you do, what I teach my clients to do is once a week, you put aside 2 to 3 hours and get this done. And that's it. And you know what I do, Gustavo, when I'm not doing a webinar is this is when I'm listening to the McDougall webinars. So I don't watch them live. I watch them on the replay. So when I'm doing my batch cooking, I'm watching the McDougall webinars or I'm watching a great YouTube with Doug Lyles. So the time goes very quickly, you know. Any advice where to get the great steamer, Asian markets? So my steamer basket was from I got mine at Bed Bath & Beyond because I used my coupon. Yeah, I do recommend though that even if you're not at the point yet where you're ready to commit to exercising, is incorporate some kind of movement in your day. Just get a pedometer. Use it as a tool just to show that you're moving. And every day try to do 1 or 2 steps more. Roast vegetables without oil is watch the very first video that we did. It's called, Gustavo and I did it. It's called Easy Meals to Keep You Thin. And we'll show you how to roast vegetables without oil.
I will send those links.
Yeah, Terry, no problem. I only mention products I love. I don't get paid to do it. I love it. I just pass it on to you. But yeah, you roast veggies without oil. You just don't use oil, but you want to use a Silpat or a nonstick silicone mat or a piece of parchment paper. If you are interested in weight loss, consider joining our Ultimate Weight Loss Program. It's a really wonderful group. Thanks for your time. So yeah, and if you have ideas, my sister's on, everybody. Hi, Barbara. Hi, that's Barbara. Wow, she's
that's great.
Hi, Lisa. I know you. I know a lot of you people. So.
Oh yeah, they are all your.
Give Bailey a hug from the McRae's. So if you guys have kids that aren't eating healthy, I would sick Sharon McRae on them. I don't mean sicker, but she is a wonderful food coach in Maryland. Her website is eatwellstaywell.com, and she transitioned her own 3 children to not just a vegan diet, but a whole food plant-based diet like we eat. And they kicked and screamed and cried at first, but the results were amazing. And so think about, she offers a free phone screening consultation, and she's fabulous. How do I join the Facebook group? Well, simple, Della. All you do is friend of my husband, whose name is Charles Shrewsbury, SHREWSBURY, and he will be happy to add you. I have a phenomenal amount of energy, and I really do attribute it to my diet. What do I think about raw diets? So I think that anytime you get away from the standard American diet, you're going to do better. Problem with raw diet, and I was on one for a couple of years, is I was starving and I was cold because there's no starch. That said, I think you should eat as many raw fruits and vegetables as you absolutely can. But again, without starch, no satiety. Ooh, and we'll be moving to Dallas soon. So do I eat leafy greens every day? I eat vegetables every day, probably 4 pounds minimum. I'm going to be honest, there's some days I don't eat leafy greens because I seem to be like I'm a zucchini lover for something. I don't know what, but I did for years. I ate them every day, but I do eat purslane almost every day, and that's a leafy. Where do you buy purslane? So Janice in Los Angeles, I buy it at the Latino markets called Super King and Vallarta, but my friend grows it, but I hear it grows in Sidewalk Land. She gets her purslane from her neighbor's garden. It's true. It really is true. If you haven't watched my McDougall talk, check it out. It's a really great lecture. I love Dr. McDougall so much. Dr. McDougall, Dr. Lyle, Dr. Goldhammer. That's like, I have in my book on process, I talk about sugar, flour, and salt being the evil trinity. Well, Lyle, McDougall, and Goldhammer, to me, they're like the holy trinity because they help me, all 3 of them, so much. They're awesome. So anyway, the broth is ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to release the pressure, show you the broth is done. And what I do, I normally would let it cool, but just so I can show you, turning the pressure cooker off. Ooh, very hot. And so what I do is I put all the scraps now. I'm draining it in this bag. I'm not going to squeeze it with my hands at this point. It's too hot. Oh, look at this. There's a huge corn cob. Look at this. I don't know how that got in there, but it did. Must have been because it was going bad. I've got lots of herbs in here. This looks like Italian parsley. So again, it's different every time. You know, if you wanted a little sweet, a parsnip in there would be great. I never have potato skins because I eat the peels of the potatoes because that's where a lot of the fiber and nutrients are. So I will do that. And I don't put that. I got a couple of food labels in there. So I don't need to take the whole thing out for you to kind of see what's going on here. Now, there's going to be twice as much because I only took some up. But you see how beautifully this bag works? And so now I've got this broth, which is just going to be absolutely delicious. If you guys want to hang around 4 more minutes, the rice will be ready. It's now ready. Look at this. You know how they used to say in the commercial, perfect rice every time? It's so true with the Instant Pot. Look at that, guys. Thank you, Shada, for the...
Oh, yeah.
It's perfectly done. It's delicious. It's very toothsome wild rice. And when you do make the chopped salad, I think that the wild rice is probably one of the best choices because it's got that toothsome. The cheese sauce recipe is from webinar number 3, I believe. And do these batch cooking techniques. It's only going to take you can streamline it 2 to 3 hours once a week. Do fun stuff, have music playing while you're doing it, listen to those webinars that you haven't listened to, listen to the Ultimate Weight Loss CDs again. And, you know, again, it's passive batch cooking what I did. I could be doing other things. I could have been emptying the dishwasher. I could have been folding laundry because none of these things that I made tonight except for the sauté really had to be babysat. So where do I find your webinars? Well, you go to my website, which is eatunprocessed.com, and you click on webinars. So Gustavo, just one more thing I want to tell you. I don't know if this machine will work, but Brian Wendell, the executive producer of Forks Over Knives, and his lovely girlfriend Darshana Thacker, who wrote the cookbooks that go with the movie, they got me a gift certificate to Sur La Table for my birthday. And they had a sale on this new machine, and I know the last thing I need is another machine, especially since I already have the Champion Juicer, the Yonanas, the Vitamix, and the Blendtec. But it was called the Fruit. It's an ice cream machine that makes ice cream of just fruit. But what's different about it is the fruit doesn't have to be frozen. And it makes 1.5 quarts because you can't make that much in the machines I have. So anyway, once I get it, if it works, we'll show it in the webinar because I'm really hoping it will work because people, you know, like that stuff. So, all right, well, good. When do you what do you add to your salad when you sit down to eat? Well, Gail, watch our last free webinar, What I Eat in the Day, and I show you all the different steps: sweet salad, sweet, sour, salty, savory, starch, specialty, and then the next one I should have added was snap for crunches. Right. I'll show you how to do that. Gustavo, they want to know if you cook.
Oh, I love to cook. Actually, I'm going to be your competition really soon.
You know what, Gustavo, you gave me a great idea. Can somebody else do this when we're together? Because we should have an Iron Chef, you and I.
Yes.
So if we could get somebody else to do the video part, we could do an Iron Chef live for everybody.
That would be so fun.
That would be fun. So if you guys are in Dallas, make sure you hook up with Gustavo because we hopefully we'll do something live, you know?
I think we're going to have to go, Chef AJ, or we're going to end up with the computer here in bed.
Bye, guys. I know I'm tired too. And gotta watch Big Bang Theory, my favorite show. But guys, thank you so much for watching. You can have the body you deserve. Thanks, Gustavo. Love you.
Oh, no. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for logging in. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.